through some of these curses in this week's Torah portion. So first of all, he prepares the Jews for all these curses by giving them a few curses, preparation curses, and Har Evel, and also on Har Bracha. So they heard first of all, they already heard several curses there, and each one was preceded by a blessing. All right. And it will be, if you listen to the voice of God and you do the commandments that I'm commanding you today. He keeps saying today because the Torah is supposed to be brand new, as though you're receiving it today, all the time. You do all the commandments today, then God will make you higher than all of the nations of the world. They'll come upon you all the blessings. They will run after you because you listen to the voice of God. You will be blessed in the city. You will be blessed in the field. You will be blessed the fruit of your womb. The fruit of your fields, your animals. It says the cows, the sheep. Your fruits will be blessed, and the wheat will be blessed. That's what the Rashi explains. Is your fruits. Excuse me. You'll be blessed when you come in. You'll be blessed when you go out. Excuse me. Rashi explains what does it mean when you go out, even when you go out of the world. When you leave the world at the end of your life, it'll go out without any sins. God will put all of your enemies running before you. They'll come against you in one path and they'll run away 7 paths. Rashi says, because that's the way of a person who gets really scared, that they scatter to all the directions. They don't run away in an orderly fashion. God will command you the blessing in your grain stores and everything that you put your hand to, anything you decide to do. The earth will be blessed, which God gives you. God will make you for a holy nation, like He promised you, because you're doing the commandments of God. All the nations will see that the name of God is called on you, and they'll be afraid of you. They'll be afraid. One place it says this is talking about tefillin, the head tefillin especially. And God will give you an extra blessing for good from your children and your animals and your land, on the land that God commanded you. And God will open up the storehouses of heaven, His good storehouse, and He'll give you rain in its proper time, and He'll bless everything that you put your hand to, and you will loan to many nations, and you won't have to borrow from them. Okay, God, you will be the head, you won't be for a tail, you'll be above, you won't be below, because you listen to God. Listen to what God said. Don't turn away from all these things that I told you. Not to the right and not to the left. To go after other gods. But, now here we come. If you don't listen to the word of God, and to do what the commandments that He says and His laws that I'm commanding you today, then there will come upon you all of these curses. And they will smite you. They will, how do you say, catch up to you. You'll be cursed in the city. You'll be cursed in the field. You'll be cursed in your your fruits and your wheat, the fruits, your children, the land, the your cattle, the sheep. You'll be cursed when you come in. You'll be cursed when you leave. God will send upon you these weird diseases and confusion, all these neuroses and psychoses, and everything that you do until you are destroyed and you are driven out from the land because of your bad deeds that you do. What are these weird? It says, for instance, there's these poisonous hornets. And there's also, what do they call it? Paranoia, called bahalot. You'll hear all sorts of weird voices, schizophrenic voices. God will make cling to you until it destroys you from the land that he gave to you. God will smite you with these bizarre diseases, shachefes, kadachas, dalekes, charchur, cherev, shidafon, yurakon, and it will pursue you until you die. And Rashi explains each one of these are, which one of these weird diseases are. High fever, undulant fever. The heavens over your head will be like copper, and the earth will be like iron. Rashi explains what type of a curse this is. God will put the rain of your field, he'll make it into dust and dirt. From heaven, it will come down on you until it destroys you. Like, sandstorms, or here Rashi says, what does it mean? Just say sandstorms. What does it mean? The rain will come down and it'll be sand. What does it mean? It says the rain will come down, but not enough. And it won't be enough to even wet the land. And the wind will come, and then it'll turn everything into dust. It'll cover over all of the plants that already are there. So anything that did benefit from the water, the dust will cover it over. It'll stuck on it, and it'll become like plaster. God will make you plagued before all of your enemies in one way. You will go out against your enemies, and in 7 ways you'll run away. You'll be the one that is the one that flees, that runs away. La'emo lazia, because of fear. And you'll be like sweating from fear. Everyone, and even more, anybody who hears what happened to you, they'll also start sweating and amazed how you've got these terrible plagues. Your carcasses will be for food for the birds of heaven and for the animals of the world, and nothing will be afraid of you. Animals won't be afraid of you. God will give you boils of Egypt, Tchorim, Geriv, Charam, Choras, Asher lo tuchal repe. These bizarre diseases that cannot be healed. It says everything will be dry outside but wet inside. Like it says in Bechorim, Geriv means that it'll be some sort of weird skin disease or dry, wet skin disease. God will give you insanity, blindness, and the confusion of the heart. Rashi says your heart will be stuffed up. Ostrodishon, belaz, ostrodishon, whatever that means. In other words, you'll be insane. You'll be insane. You'll start feeling around in the middle of the afternoon, just like a blind person does in the darkness. nothing you do will succeed. You'll just be pursued and, how do you say, stolen from all of the days, and no one can serve you. I'll never forget, maybe you've seen the sign of a Jew in Germany when the Nazis started to go up in power. There's some poor Jew standing between these two big, huge soldiers or policemen, and he's got a sign on him, and it says in German, "I dared to complain to the police." Right, a Jew, you complain to the police, you're in trouble. A woman will get engaged, and someone else will steal her, will rape her. You'll build up a house, but you'll never live in it. You'll plant vineyards, but you'll never get a chance to reap the harvest. Your ox will be slaughtered in front of your own eyes, and you won't be able to eat from it. Your donkey will be stolen from you, and it'll never come back. Your sheep will be given to your enemy, and no one can help you. Your sons and your daughters will be given over to another nation. We see the intermarriage. Your eyes will see, and you'll go crazy for them all the day, but you haven't got any power in your hand to say anything or do anything about that. The fruit of your land and all of your hard work, some strange nation that you don't even know, they'll come and they'll eat it, because you'll be robbed and trampled all the time. You'll be crazy from what your eyes see, from the visions that your eyes see. God will give you some sort of strange, evil, whatever it is, skin disease on your knees, on your thighs, that can't be healed. From the soles of your shoes, the soles of your feet, to the top of your head. Anyway, God will take you, Yolich Hashem, God will take you and your king that you assign over into a strange nation that you don't know. This is like what happened in this first destruction, right? And that you and your enemies, you and your fathers will serve over there all sorts of weird idols. You'll go crazy. You'll be, how do you say, you'll be horrified from, you will be like, for a name, an example, and all the nations that God, in other words, God will throw you among all these other nations, and they're like a big curse that they'll say, hey, you dirty Jew. They'll call each others, right? Jew, like you call somebody a dog or something like that. You'll be the example of you'll plant a lot in your fields, but you only gather a little bit because the locusts will take it. You'll plant vines and you won't get any wine from it, and etc. and etc. and etc. and etc. Curses, 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 curses. A poor person, a man who is very delicate, he will, his eye will be like jealous on his brother or his wife and the other children that are left over. And he won't want to give them any of the meat of his children that he's eating without leaving anything. In other words, he's going to eat some of his children, and he won't want to give any of the meat to any of the less ones that are left over. That's the ones that are left over. That's going to be his meal for tomorrow, and etc. This is brought in the Gemara also. The most delicate of you, that her foot never even went on the earth, never touched the ground. Suddenly, all of a sudden, she'll have a jealous eye on her husband and her children and her daughters, and the placenta, which is between her feet, and even the baby that she gives birth to, because she'll eat them all in a Seder. She'll be ashamed. She'll go and eat them in a quiet room because there won't be anything what to eat. Hunger is terrible. I don't know if you've ever been hungry. I certainly have never been hungry. But they say that a person is hungry can go totally crazy. That's cannibalism. Unless you do what God says. Okay, enough of this curses. Okay, we got it. We got the point. It says just like God was happy to do you good, he'll be happy to do you bad. He says God will scatter you in all of the nations. This is only talking about after the destruction of the second temple, because the first temple, the Jews were not scattered all over the world. From one end of the earth to the other, you will serve over there all sorts of weird idols. And the non-Jews, they got popes and things like that. There's these weird, gurus sitting in India that they're Jews. They don't even know it. Your life will be hanging in front of you. You'll be afraid day and night. And in the morning you'll say, wow, it's worse today than it was yesterday. Yesterday was terrible, but it's not as bad as today. I wish I had the terrors and the tortures of yesterday. Okay, ready? These are the words of the covenant. What does it mean, the covenant? What type of covenant is all these curses? It says that the Jews are willing to accept on themselves the Torah with an oath and a swearing, in addition to the curses and the blessings which already mentioned in Vayikra. And that's it. That's the end of the curses. Now, each one of these curses is really a blessing and concealed. And I'll just tell you a short story that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai once sent his son, Rabbi Elazar, to two great genius Talmidei Chachamim, and they cursed him. He said it was his birthday, his son's birthday, so he says, go to these men, they'll give you a blessing. And they cursed him. And he came back and he said, crying. He said, what'd you send me to them? They cursed me. They said, and that I'm going to send out my children and they're never going to come back, and that they're going to bury whatever it is, my wife or something, and my house is going to be destroyed. So his father said, no, those were really blessings. That you're going to send out your daughters and they're going to get married. They won't have to come back. It says you're going to bury your wife. In this case, I have to look on to see. It means your evil desires, that you'll bury them, or that your wife will live long. And anyway, he retranslated everything. So it comes to show that it is possible to reinterpret all these things so that they don't come out to be the bad meaning. And in fact, like I told you the story about the Alter Rebbe, that when he read, says his son only heard blessings. So really, it's not to reinterpret what it says here, right? Reinterpret. In a way, to interpret properly. This is the reinterpretation. If the Jews don't do what God wants, then everything gets all confused, you go crazy, and then this starts to mean bad things. But if they do properly, then it's good. Okay, and this is the covenant that God has made with the Jewish people. Let's do a little bit of Pirkei Avot, because like I said, I'm very sorry